Buddy from Michigan, who says his friend started doubting faith and he wants tips on how to talk to them. Buddy, hello. Do you want to kind of give us that in your own words?
Hello, buddy.
Hello, Richard. Hello, Phoebe. I am so sorry that you guys had to deal with some nonsense from a couple of problematic callers. That's ridiculous, especially because at least one of them was, scary.
Yeah, there is that.
A friend of mine recently told me that she has been struggling for a long time and has started, her specific words were, it's been difficult for me in my situation. I said, I understand because, stuff is how it is these days. I know that she'll find some employment soon. She's mostly having monetary issues. She says she hopes so. I'm getting all tired of this. I don't know my faith anymore. I asked, what do you mean? She says, I mean, I'm hopeless. And I said, no, you aren't. Don't say mean things about my friend like that.
That's like being a Michigander and not knowing where to point on your hand to say where you come from.
I'm sorry?
I said, that's like being a Michigander and not knowing where on your hand to point to say where you've come from.
Yeah, but it's weird because I know where I come from.
I know. It's an odd thing. So how long has your friend been experiencing what they have brought to you?
I've only known them for a few months since the beginning of the year. But at the very least, they're at this point a good friend of mine now, and I want to do everything I can to support them. But they kind of dodged the question of what do you mean when I asked, what do you mean about you're questioning your faith? And she was just like, well, I feel like I'm hopeless. And I was like, well, don't say that about yourself. And I have already told her that I'm atheist, and she was like, oh, okay. And we just tabled that. But I'm just curious how I should approach such a situation, because I don't want to bait them into, deconstruction or anything like that. That's not fair to anybody.
Are you comfortable saying what flavor of religion they're coming away from?
I'm sorry?
Are you comfortable saying which flavor of religion they're coming away from? Please don't reveal any information that may identify this person, but are you comfortable saying which flavor of religion they're coming from?
I know it's Christian. I don't know which denomination. I'm assuming Catholic, because you can only get better from there.
Are you aware of the theory of street epistemology?
No, I am not, Phoebe.
So my understanding of it is you start to ask the base questions. Why? And you start to break down the individual things. Richard, jump in if I'm getting the definitions of street epistemology incorrect here, because I always get it slightly mixed up in my head. But it's about making sure that you break down the understandings. And
hard as hell.
And I would always approach them as a friend. And I would just try to be a friend to them. I don't know what you have to say, Richard.
Yeah, I think it's important to make them feel comfortable, and you have your friends. So your friends doubting faith. They know that you're an atheist. How often do you interact with them, and in what kind of circumstances do you interact with them?
Pretty much daily on Facebook chat.
Right. So, and what conversations roughly? You don't have to go into personal lives, but roughly, kind of what conversations do you have? Do you have kind of philosophical conversations? Do you talk about things like that, or is it all kind of what computer game I played last week?
Sometimes she brings up church, sometimes she doesn't. She thanks God every now and then. It's generally just friendly chat. I'm silly, you're silly. I'm glad we're friends. So,
Yeah.
how's your dog doing? How's your cat doing? All that.
Yeah. I think in this situation, what I'd tend to do is I very rarely interact with my religious friends on Facebook in a kind of in this, why do you believe what you believe kind of way. I have a lot of religious friends. And I have had a lot of religious friends over the years. I've stayed at Buddhist monasteries. I've been to Eid meals at mosques. I've been invited to church services because this is what I do. I'll talk to religious people all the time, but I talk to them in a lot of the case on a kind of the level of let's explore this thing together. Let's do this religious work together. Through university, because that's what we do at university and things like that. We talk about it, we work together on projects and things. So that's kind of, I wouldn't go into those situations talking to those people and suddenly start asking them why they believe what they do. However, if I had a friend who was bringing it to the table, let's say, and there was a recent example of this, of one of these people who is doing the same university course as I have, who is a Christian, and we had Sorry, go on.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's the literal words that she typed were. Sorry, I gotta scroll up. Because it's the chat window. Where is it?
Yeah. So if somebody brings it to the table, then I would see that as an opening to have that conversation with them. I think in a way that, when somebody says something like that, when they bring it to the table, they're inviting you to have that conversation with them. So,
and then
that is...
When I asked, what do you mean? She kind of dodged the question and just replied with, I'm hopeless. And I said, don't say something like that. She said, what do you mean? Well, you're strong. You're determined. You're not going to give up. I know you're not.
Yeah, there's a couple of organizations that you can kind of reference your friend to. One is Recovering from Religion, and the other is Freedom from Religion Foundation. And they're both really, really good organizations for kind of that your friend can get in touch with and have these conversations with, or even you can call these organizations for kind of advice on how to talk to your friend. Also, we have one of our hosts, Objectively Dan, is... Dan is someone, when Phoebe was talking about street epistemology, Dan came out of religion, and I'm sure he won't mind me saying this is well publicized. Dan came or started doubting because he was stopped in the street by a guy called Anthony Magnabosco, who is a street epistemologist, and he asked Dan what he believed and why he believed it, and started this chain of events. And this has eventually led Dan out of religion. So it might be worth calling back when Dan's hosting to kind of get his view on this, because he would really be able to kind of talk you through this a lot better than I can, who's never been religious myself, and I've never come out of religion.
I will keep an eye out. I will keep an eye out for Objectively Dan, and maybe he'll show up in the after show Discord or something like that, and I can ask him there, and not even the phone line. Like, that would be super cool.
I mean, feel free to call the show when it's on. I'm sure we'd love to take your call. But in the meantime, take. I think they've put it in the chat. If you've got access to the chat, they've put the links for Recovering from Religion in there. So if you want to kind of have a look at that, even for yourself. In the meantime, buddy, I am going to let you go. I appreciate your call. give Dan a call back. Really do give Dan a call back and have this conversation with him. I think that's the better place to do it.